Hey guys, I think we're live. My name is Charnel Wolverton, Sihon, Dr. Charnel, and we're here with Swiftfire True TV. Super excited today. Craig is co-hosting with me, and we are going to talk about some exciting things. We have Amy Leopard here with us today, and really happy to have some discussions about stars, specifically the path to our personal destiny and stars, and how that relates to even like spiritual things, biblical things. Why is this an important thing? What's the science about it? Um, and just kind of talk on some of this because I know that it can get kind of sticky and weird, and maybe somebody might not be open to it, or maybe you've been doing this your whole life. Who knows? But we would like to have a healthy conversation about this topic specifically and how it relates to us right now in this season. Amy happens to be a partner with me in a retreat that we just purchased, a retreat center that we'll give more information about coming soon. And her background is, I mean, she's done it all. She's got Reiki, yoga. Yeah, I'll let her give her bio, but before we get started, I just want to remind you guys, please go to swiftfire.org, get on the newsletter for number one, and also hit the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do, because we're making some changes, and basically we will not be doing any lives on Facebook anymore. We are moving everything over here and BitChute and Rumble. This is our best place to do it, so I hope that you guys would go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you're getting notifications on things that are coming up live. We're completely revamping the channel and just making it a little more user friendly. So, but definitely want to get everybody over here so you guys are aware of what's going on and what's coming up. But of course, my cat had to jump in on there. But Craig, you got anything to say? And then we're going to have Amy give us a little bit about her background and who she is and what have you. But I wanted to introduce you two because you guys haven't officially met yet.
This is the first time. This is a topic that I remember years ago. I was one of those, came through a Christian background. I had no concept of the stars and how they affect us. That just wasn't taught in the circles I mingled with, and I used to sort of scoff at it and think, what are those stars millions of miles away? How can they affect me here? And then one day, God has a way of tapping you on the shoulder and being like, I've got something to show you. And it's like, well, what was it that led the Magi to Jesus when he was born? That they obviously saw something. So it triggered my interest. Like, oh my word, there's something here that I've not been seeing. And so, Amy, it's great to meet you. Please do tell us more about yourself.
Great to meet you too. I'm kind of the same. I had the same Christian background. Always felt pulled by astrology. I've always been interested in it, gone back and forth. And, I would always ask myself questions, like, is this okay? Am I going to, am I hurting my soul by diving into and learning all these things, and finally, I found some information about astrology, how, that they were led to Jesus by the stars. The three wise men were astronomers and astrologers. It was considered the same thing back in the day. The history of, like the burning of the books and getting rid of the information so other people couldn't learn it. Not great people were the ones leading that. So it just kind of all comes together. And then there's also the 12 disciples represent the different archetypes of the zodiac signs. So that kind of gave me my peace of mind, and I went head first. I've been studying astrology for the last 3 years. I recently, the last year, started working on my yoga teacher certification. And I've been dabbling in different types of energy, mindset, coaching, that kind of thing for about 12 years now. So right now, my mission, my passion is astrology and teaching people how to use it as a map, as a guide. It's not a written in stone type of thing like a lot of people, think. They think, oh, well, then where's the free will? Well, your free will is still there. This is just a guide, and it gives you information that is helpful for a life, living your best life and your highest potential. And yeah, so.
Awesome. And I forgot to mention you do also raindrop, which is really
Yes.
cool. And
Yes.
that's one of my passions. And that's actually how we met each other, is through certification that she came down. And before I lived next door to her,
Right.
we were in a whole different city, and she had come down. And now I've moved. And whenever I moved, I didn't realize like that her mom lived next door. And then it's a long thing, but now she's next door in her own space. And yeah, so it was interesting. But going back to the whole understanding how it works in the field. What was intriguing to me is I started looking at, of course, I've studied the biofield and energy and, the ether in our field. And there's a direct correlation with what goes on with like solar flashes, for example, with the energy of the earth that obviously affects us. Maybe not everybody knows that, but anyone who's looked into like the Schumann effect, I've studied that and talked about it for years. And so those things do affect electronics, which we are electronic. So it affects anything with a heartbeat or or human. But also, in addition, there's something about the stars and or the planets that have a set off that basically affects not only the biofield of the earth as a collective, but us individually. So when we're born at a certain time and a certain day and a certain year in a certain location, it affects like our imprint of how we are conceived and brought into this planet of life. And that is kind of my way of kind of communicating how this works. Is like, I was like, when I started really looking at that, how does this work and what's the science behind it? And because I'm such a geek when it comes, I got to know the how, right? And so once I got that, and then to every day go through life with that specific signature imprint that was encapsulated at your birth, but then to walk out each day and have those changes and how that interacts with our imprint, is the way I would explain it. And also, just for people who are listening, it's like, it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter, what race you are or gender you are. Like, we all have that imprint, and the stuff that's going on in the external does have an impact on the internal. But go a little bit into that. If you can expand on that a little bit, that would be helpful, I think, for people who are on asking. Carlin.
Okay. So, like you said, you're born in a certain place, certain time, all that. That's your natal chart. And you can see by the rising sign, that's one of the most important placements where the sun is hitting the horizon when you're born. That determines your house system. Astrology is very layered. So, are you telling me? Wait.
Oh, I was just saying, so explain the rising sun a little bit. Like you said, is it rising sun?
Right. The rising sign.
Rising sign. Okay.
Yes. So this determines where your first house starts. A lot of people look at the sun sign as like their main, sign. And then you'll hear a lot of people say, well, astrology isn't real. I don't relate with my sun sign. Well, it's because you also have a rising sign, a moon sign, a Mars, a Mercury, and so on. So the rising sign is one of the most important placements because when you're born, that's where, that determines where your houses start. So for example, mine is Taurus rising. So my first house starts in Taurus. Now, Taurus would rule my first house. My first house represents myself. So I'm going to show up in the world as a Taurus. People are going to see me as a Taurus energy. And I also will filter the world through that Taurus energy. So I'll see the world as Tauran things. And then the other layer to that is Taurus is ruled by Venus. So your rising sign determines what planet you're ruled by. Well, if you're ruled by Venus, then what is important to you is going to be Venusian things like love, image, money, material things. It's not that surface level, don't worry. But so you start there. You start with your rising sign, and you can look at your different planets, positions of your planets, to find out more information about yourself. So the big three is what a lot of people call it: your sun, your rising, and your moon sign. Your moon sign represents your internal world, your emotions, and how you deal with things on an emotional level, what's important to you, that kind of thing. So to determine that about someone, you would look to see where their moon is. And you would look at the house number, because the house represents a part of your life. Like the first house is yourself, second house is money, third house is communication, siblings, fourth house, roots, home, fifth house, joy, sixth house, your work, everyday routine kind of thing. Seventh house is love, relationships, partnerships. Eighth house is your transformation, death and rebirth. Ninth house is your religion and your travel, your worldly views. 10th house is your career and how you see or how you show up in the world as a public figure. 11th house is your community, like your clubs and organizations. 12th house is the house of secrets, religion, and spirituality. So you can see how it goes full circle. And going back to where we were born, with that energy, your natal energy, that is your chart, right? So that is your energy. That's how you function best. It's going to tell you a lot of things that are how you show up in the world, that kind of thing. But also you can, and this is a little advanced, but after you're 30, you can look at your progress chart. This is after your Saturn return, which means after Saturn comes back around and meets up with your original natal Saturn placement. You can look at this progress chart though and see where your energy is evolving to and how you're like evolving as a person, because it goes, around the circle. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
You've blown my mind here. This is brilliant. Honestly, because I'm open and honest, I'm a complete noob at this sort of thing. So you're really explaining it well to someone like me. It's making a lot of sense. And isn't it just amazing to know that like the whole cosmos is engineered sort of in this way, and that we're a part of this humongous plan and purpose. It's mind blowing. Don't let me stop you. I was really enjoying that.
Carlin is asking, so do you look again after 60? By the way, hey, Carlin, she does amazing raindrops and has an office that you guys can go get your raindrop from too, by the way. So, but she's in a different location than Amy. But anyway, just a shout out to Carlin. But so you revisit it again after every 30?
Mm-hmm. You can actually pull it up anytime because your chart is constantly changing. We actually, something really cool that you can look at is your moon placement. Because like I said, that's your emotional inner world, right? So when you are moon tracking in a progress chart, you can see where your moon's changed to. And it changes every 2.5 years. So you can actually, or it might be 2 years. I'll have to check that. But so it changes signs though. So you can see like where you are emotionally and what you are able to like work through, heal, that kind of thing.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. I hear people go like so-and-so in the house and so-and-so here. It's like, I might have to just get like a basic book or something to kind of give me at least, you and Laura Eisenhower and all y'all who do this, it's when you get in that zone and you're talking, I'm just like, it's a foreign language to me, honestly. But I like how you just broke it down in these houses. So you said that there's 12 houses, and then there's also 12 disciples too. So you're saying that each disciple has an archetype. Can you explain a little bit about that? I know you have a book about it too.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about that. That was just kind of I found that out and it gave me peace of mind.
Permission. Yes.
Yeah. I do have a great book I can recommend though for anybody that is interested. It's Stowe's Bible Astrology, and it breaks down the entire Bible. It basically decodes the astrology in it.
Interesting. Yeah, and that book is like from the 1800s or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty old.
So people have been doing this way before, our little 2022 situation. So, so when you're working with someone, what do you mostly get people coming in and they're just like, hey, what do I do about a job or partnership, or what most people come to you about?
So, I get a lot of career, asking about career, like where should I, that kind of thing. Which direction should I go? Love and relationships is a biggie. People love that. I really enjoy looking into the chart to find like where we can focus on doing healing work. And so you can look at different houses to find these specific things, like a love and relationship. You would look at your seventh house for partnerships to see like what kind of energy that you will attract. You can look at your Venus, where your Venus placement is, to see what sign and what house it's in. To see what kind of energy that you are attracting or are attracted to. You can also look at that to see like someone's love language, like what you can do to be a better partner, to show up better for them. Like if you know that their Venus is in like a water sign, for example, then they might be a little bit emotional because water represents the emotions. It's ruled by moon, So so you can look at that kind of thing. Career is really fun. There's different placements for that, but there's actual marks in your chart, in your natal chart, specific points, calculations, and it's called the MC. That's in your always. It's not always in your 10th house. It depends on what kind of chart you're looking at, which you can pull up many different types of astrology charts. This is just like the basic stuff I'm talking about right now. But you can look at your MC placement, which is going to be either in or around your 10th house of career. And you can look there to see like what kind of jobs you would be good at, or what people might see you as being, good at. And you can also look at your second house of money and find out where, what kind of jobs and what kind of energy. Like mine is speaking and communicating, because my second house is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is the communicator. It's ruled by Mercury. So Mercury rules communication. It also rules the way you speak and the way you communicate. And Gemini, it's funny because Gemini is all over the place. It's the twins, so it's the energy going this way and this way. So I'm like, yeah, that's totally me, because I can go off on, some rabbit trails or holes.
Awesome.
So with regards to, because things I've looked at in this was more to do with the ages of time, basically. Like the solar system is a huge clock, basically. Mm-hmm. Does this all get involved with that? Like, for example, I believe that we've either crossed or are crossing the threshold into what's called the age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. Does this tie in with the stuff you're talking about, as into individuals?
Yeah, sure.
Does it link in?
The age of Aquarius, it's kind of a battle in the astrology community, like if it is or if it isn't, or when it started and that kind of thing. But it does match with the energy of now to me, because Aquarius is also about information. It's about humanitarianism. It's about the collective good, and it also rules social media and networking, the internet, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Which has been a major rise recently. So, and then two, we just got through with, well, we're not quite through with it at this moment in time, but Mercury has been retrograde, and that's a huge subject, which I'll touch on if you guys don't mind.
Please do. Please do.
I was going to ask.
Okay, so tonight, actually, it will station direct. So what has been going on is for the last, I think it's been about 3 weeks, Mercury has been retrograde, which means it's going backwards. And that doesn't mean that the planet itself stopped and turned around. It does kind of look like that, but like it's an illusion. What it means is it's going back in the zodiac wheel. So it's going backwards. So we call this a revisiting period, and any kind of like word is what you want to focus on during this Mercury retrograde time. Revisiting, redoing, rewriting, whatever you need to redo. And so we're about to complete that cycle, which it's gone through. It was retrograde in Aquarius, and then it moved into Capricorn. Aquarius is an air sign, information, kind of scattered all over the place, but also it's a very like smart energy. And then you have Capricorn, which is like boss energy. It's get stuff done. It's ruled by the earth, or it's an earth element sign. It's, practical and that kind of deal. So Mercury's now going direct there, which means that you're going to notice mostly because Mercury is a personal planet, and I'll talk about that a little bit too, but Mercury is a personal planet, so you'll feel that kind of more internally, like the moon, how the moon, shifts the waves, like you were talking about, Charnel, about how we're kind of, directed with that energy. Mercury is also pretty close to us, so it feels emotional, and it feels like personal, and then opposed to like Pluto, which is way out there. It's more of a collective energy. So more of the collective, in the collective you'll see things happening from that kind of energy, the Pluto. And then so Mercury going direct tonight, and we'll notice in ourselves and the collective too, like I said, a big push forward, because we've been going backwards for so long. And then Venus has also been there with Mercury retrograde, and they've been next to each other. And so Venus, like I said, represents relationships. So there might have been, you might have noticed thinking about your relationships more and revisiting and kind of just seeing what needs to change, that kind of thing during that Venus retrograde. So now that they're both going direct, it's a really exciting time. We're going to have really good energy this February. For the rest of the month, it's supposed to be really nice energy. We're moving out of these transits that have been restricting us. This Uranus square Saturn transit that's been holding us back, restricting us, keeping us stagnant, slowing our projects down, that kind of thing. So we're about to move out of that. So things should get exciting soon.
I'm ready for it.
I'm so ready too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll give you guys some Mac's on here. Hey, Mac, what's up? My producer and project manager. I'll give you an example of how I kind of connected with this, because this was all like woo-woo to me in my science brain, and just my background, my programming at first. And what's interesting is, as a kid, I don't know where I got this, but, growing up military, we would travel a lot, and always there right whenever you would go to the checkout at the post, which is the the place where you would get groceries or food on post on base, they always had these little like tubes that were in the months, and I'm a Virgo, so you could pull out your horoscope. It was like however much, and I would save my money to get my horoscope every month, even as a little kid. And my mom wasn't into it that I know of, or I don't know how I got into it or why, but I was obsessed with it until I moved to, yeah, called. But until I moved to the South, where, that was just like, no, that's terrible, bad. We got some Virgos in the house, nice, higher dimensions. But yeah, so I always, and that I was just told that's the devil, that's so bad, blah, 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 that's demon, which I know you guys have all heard, maybe nobody watching, but I know for a fact you guys have heard that. But when Amy and I reconnected, our house had tornadoed, and we were trying to look for a place and found some land, and we're trying to get like everything established over there. And her and I connected, and I don't know if I instigated it or you did, but you were like, let's look at your chart or whatever, and what's your birthday and blah blah blah. And I was like, going, okay, I don't know, but and I had anyway, but she looked at everything, and she was like, we thought we were going to be in and done and like settled by this certain date, and that's what we were told, but it kept getting changed, and all this stuff was holding things up. Maybe we were in a retro thing, I don't know, but I think we were, because you had said, you know what, I wouldn't like freak out and hold on to like all that energy to push to make that happen, because we're in this holding space right now and things or whatever. And maybe it was a retro situation. She was like, everything's going to land on so-and-so date. And it was like, I want to say like 8 weeks away or something. And I was kind of like, okay, thinking no, but because my will, right? And because I'm a get her done girl, and I'm just like, bum, 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 bum. So, but I listened to what she said, and also was just sort of like, whatever, and continuing to do what I could on my end to make things happen. And then I kind of forgot about what she said and was still just whatever going on with life. And then all of a sudden, we got in and we were doing everything. And I sent her a message and said like, hey, I just want to let you know we're in. Are you guys in yet too? Because they were in the middle of moving to be by us. And then she was like, yay, good. Yeah, we're almost there, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at the date, and I'll be doggone, the exact same date that she said. And I was like, wow, this is like real stuff here. So, since then, I worked with Tina St. John, and I worked with her also. And I did like the full natal thing. I did the whole year ahead deal. I've just really looked at it. And I mean, it is really interesting how like there's so much is actually real. And yesterday someone contacted me in Instagram and was like, hey, I'm an astrologer or whatever, and if you need any help, blah blah blah, I can help support you. And I don't know who this person is, and I get stuff like this, but I went to her page to look, and she had a quote on there, and she said something like, average people don't get transit readings, billionaires do. And I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. So, anything on that, Craig, or you got anything to add?
I'm honestly, sorry, there's an echo there. Is it me? Oh no, it's gone. I'm just mind blown because again, it's something that I'm aware of, but I've not really delved into to any depth. And I'm just thinking to myself now. I mean, I don't even know. I've had a look at what would be my star sign in the past, but I'm on the 19th of February is my birthday, so I'm like right on the brink. Sorry,
coming up.
Yeah, it is. It's not far away. So I was like right on the brink of a transition, and I can't remember which one I am because on some charts I'm on one, some charts I'm on another. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how would I deal with that?
Actually, we would have to look at an ephemeris to see your specific, because you're not going to be one or the other. You're going to be, or you are going to be one or the other. So you're either, because it's degrees, so you'd either be a 29 degree, I guess that's Aquarius.
Actually,
Yeah,
usually is Aquarius.
yeah. So you're probably a 29 degree Aquarius. So you're either that or 0 degree
the next one.
Pisces. Yeah, Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'd have to look at it in reverse. There's actually, there's a book, but you can do it through software too. Like I can pull it up on software, and I'd be glad to do that for you.
I'll speak to you afterwards.
Okay.
But no, like I say, I mean, I can hear the voices now. This sounds demonic. This is New Age. This is not of God or whatever people say. But obviously, who made the stars? Who made this cosmic function that we're all a part of? And we've really, really lost something as a society, certainly as Christian people. And what I do know as well, because a lot of things I dabble in is I kind of research into the cabal, so-called Illuminati type stuff. It's just an interest of mine. They purposely arrange events around the cosmic circles. They will do things like 9/11, for example, was at a really specific time. I can't remember the exact things about it. But big events that have occurred that have been engineered, that they align it with the cosmic cycles. That they are aware of this stuff, and I think this is really something we need to redeem, and we need to work with creation again, and cooperate with creation. I mean, every philosophy, like I've studied Wu Wei philosophy, which is Chinese philosophy, for example, and it's all about becoming one with nature again, going with the flow of nature, that you don't control it, you just be a part of it. And I think this kind of knowledge is all to do with that, that we are a part of a humongous system, and we need to stop working against it and work with it. And I think life will become a lot more fluid. So I'm very, very interested in this sort of stuff, and I will be in touch.
I like that you said that, because it's they do use it, and think about like I was saying before, the people that got rid of the information and tried to keep it from us, that people don't get rid of the bad stuff for us. Like they're
Exactly.
trying to keep us from the truth, or something happened, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we should be able to work with and not against. 100%.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah, and not feel like the programming of shame about it, or guilt about like actually delving into your own life path and seeing what it is that you're supposed to do, because God forbid we know what we're doing, because then we might do it and actually make a dent on the planet as a collective and individually. But I can see that I know that when they did my chart and some transit stuff too, what really stuck out, this is a person who didn't know anything about me when Tina first did it, and she was like, she saw, I believe it was Mercury and something else, both at birth and from like 3 to 6, and it was having to do with like quick technology and some other stuff and rapid moving, and there's like a bunch of stuff in that house or whatever, and the first thing I was thinking about is like that's when the Montauk stuff happened or whatever. It was like even in the chart for that, it was pretty like, wow, like this is. So then I start wondering, like, do they pick those people because they saw the chart or they knew the time, or which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Anyway, that's a whole different deal. But I can see the relevance too for like collaborations. Like if you're gonna maybe know someone's chart, if you're gonna work with them to see how those things will work, or how you're drawn to certain people, knowing what your kids are, so you can help support them, or your partner for that purpose too, just to have a better understanding of not only who we are, but who they are, so we can nurture our kids the way it's best for them, or work in that partnership. Like I happen to be really apparently a lot of Virgo. I mean, a lot of what are you again, Craig? You're
Aquarius.
Pisces.
you're Pisces. Yeah,
Pisces.
like my mom's a Pisces, and I have a lot of Pisces people for some reason. I don't know. What's the correlation? Like, is there a chart that says like these guys are always work well with these guys, or these wells don't go together, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can look at, this is actually kind of simple. You can look at the elements of the sign, or let's see, how would you do that? So, like relationship wise, like how you get along with people, that kind of thing. So, with family, like siblings, it would be, you would look at your third house to look at that energy to see, you know, what it might show up in your siblings might show up in your chart. Like you might have, you know, placements that show family members in your chart, like a mom, a dad, grandfather. But that third house is where you would look to see like how those, you know, how the majority, I guess, of that particular subject would show up. Relationships, you know, it's gonna, like I said, seventh house is gonna show you like what you're attracted to and what would be attracted to you also. But with the elements, you can look like you can keep it pretty basic. Like look at your sun sign. I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm a fire element. Fire doesn't work great with water because fire, you know, water's down.
Water puts out fire. Oh, I love it. Yes, water puts fire out. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors.
So that's just an example. But like, you know, you could look at your career house too, your 10th house, for who would be a good career person for, you know, or business partner to work with. 7th house too, because that's that same. But there's different places, different planets, you know, different aspects that you can look at to find those things out. And I was trying to think of an example. I have like a specific person that I will usually like run into in public. I believe that was the 6th house stuff. So it's like my 6th house is ruled by Libra. So it's like really like happy-go-lucky people, you know, very balanced, harmonious type of people, Libra. And that's who I'll usually like deal with. And I'm talking about like gas stations and like restaurants and stuff like that. So you can look at that kind of thing too. It's very interesting. It's very layered. There's a lot to astrology. You can even look to see where you would like to go, where you'd have the best vacation by looking at like astrocartography and see like the lines from where you are. You can look like, go to like your Jupiter line. If you're traveling your Jupiter line, you know, you might find expansion and growth and abundance and all those Jupiter things, you know? So same with the MC. If you want to like maybe get your career going, the MC is your career. It's the point in the chart that determines like how you show up in public as far as like your career, your persona. So so you could look at that, or you could look at that line, travel that line, you know, for maybe inspiration or to get your career kicked off or that kind of thing. Romantic relationships, romantic trips, 7th house. And you can even look at the house line. So it's very cool. There's a lot to it. And I do readings for all these things that we're talking about.
Wow. We've really missed out, I think. We need to redeem this for sure.
I'm just getting started, so I'm ready.
Well, exactly. Obviously, you know, I don't think in 1 hour we can cover the whole topic by any stretch of the imagination. But just an introduction, like I say, I'm learning so much here, and it's really sparking something in me that, you know, something that we've forgotten, and we need to remember this stuff. And you know, with where we are at in, you know, the potential that's got with everything that's going on in the world, although it's chaotic. You know, I keep seeing and thinking that this really is the best opportunity we've ever had in our lifetimes to create and to manifest and to start afresh. I'm not talking about a great reset. They may have plans for that, but maybe they're tapping into something that they know something's coming or something's happening cosmically that I think we can kind of gain this knowledge, and we can create the world we truly choose and that we really want to see. Does this sort of stuff come into that? Like you say if I came to you and said, right, okay, I need some sort of to set a plan out for the next, say, for the rest of the year. Could you help with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we would look at like the current transits, and then the transits for, each season. We'd have to look at a lot of different things. But yeah, we could definitely do that.
Well, you can do that for a country too, right? Because I've seen some people who are like, this is where the United States is based on its birth, and blah blah blah, or this is where the UK is based on its birth, and or leaders, presidents and stuff, and how the US could be with the president, or I mean, there's so many different angles to look at to kind of see what can spring up, which is very different. I have another question too. What is the nodes? Like there's a north node, there's like a south node. What is a node? It sounds very, I don't know, node.
So the nodes are actually points of the moon.
Okay.
And so they're considered to be karmic placements. And if you don't believe in that kind of stuff, you can look at it as the first half of your life, second half of your life. North node is going to be the first half of North node will be the second part of your life. Your south node is where you come from, your energy that you're used to, and it's also where you can look at to find out your gifts. So wherever your south node is, mine's in Scorpio. Scorpio is it's the study of the occult. It's the rebirth, death, transformation, that kind of thing. So that kind of information subject, it comes natural to me. It's something that I'm interested in because I am remembering it, right? So now my north node is in Taurus. So the point of the nodes is you are bringing what you know and what your wisdoms, your gifts from your south node into your north node. And so with the transits right now, we just switched nodes. We were in north node Gemini, south node Sagittarius. And you might have, this is a collective thing, so you might have noticed that this past 18 months, that's the transit time of the nodes, that there was information overload because north node was in Gemini. Gemini is a teacher and it's got a lot of information and it wants to tell you all kinds of things. And then also, it was interesting to me because a lot of people with the South Node energy are kind of in the background, studying and, just learning and soaking in wisdoms and that type of energy, because Sagittarius is like, it's the old wise guy, but it's also, a very optimistic energy. It's very, it's the fun life of the party energy. And that was turned down just a little bit, So now that we are in Taurus, we just switched like a couple weeks ago, I think. The 18th. So we switch nodes. So now we're going to be noticing people moving into the North Node Taurus energy. So you're going to see people worrying about their resources, taking care of their finances, maybe building houses, getting rooted, really creating solid foundation, because that's what Taurus represents. So that's what we'll notice the next 18 months. And then Scorpio, people are maybe coming out of that energy a bit of the secrets, and because Scorpio is, it's hidden and it's a little bit more of a mysterious vibe. And Taurus is like out there, like, hey, I'm the tree, and Scorpio is like the roots. That's what one of my astrologers described it as. So Nodes. Did that answer your question about nodes? Or,
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So the south node is where you've come from, and the north node is where you're going, or did I get that backwards?
Nope, that's right.
Okay, good.
Interesting.
You mean node?
So also your north node energy is going to be something that you're going to strive for the rest of your life. It's going to be energy that fulfills you, and
Ah,
it's going to be something that you fail at a lot because it's like your toddler energy. There's another astrologer that my teacher tells it like that. It's like toddler energy. You're just constantly getting up, and trying again. Every time you walk, and you fall, you're going to get up and go for it again because you want to. It's exciting and it's new. So,
awesome. All
So
right.
good.
Anything else, Craig?
I was just thinking, I mean, I don't know if this is related or not, since we're talking about the moon. Like does kind of the different phases of the moon come into this as well? Because basically, I'm just being honest here. My wife and I have found that every time we come into a full moon, there's contention between us. We have arguments, and so we've learned now. Like if we're getting heated, we'll think, "What's the moon doing?" And we'll realise, I'm like, "All right, just calm down a minute." It's just
It'll
something we've figured out. You know what I mean? So does that sort of thing come into it as well?
absolutely. I'm a major moon tracker. I've been moon tracking since I started like really studying astrology for like the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting. So right now we just had the new moon in Aquarius, and that's your moon. So, or I think anyway, your sun sign moon. So with the different phases, yes. So I was just talking to my community about this actually. You in a new moon, you're getting this new energy, right? And you have what's called a waxing moon phase, and so that means that it's growing. The moon's growing, and so with that, you can also kind of grow and move those ideas and that kind of deal. When we get to the full moon, that's when everything is illuminated and you can see everything. A lot of manifestations will come to play, um, for sure. But after that full moon, we go into the waning phase. And so the moon starts getting smaller and things start getting darker again. And the closer we get to the new moon, we're getting to the dark moon. And that phase is for about a week. And that is when I notice a lot of very sensitive people are getting, depressed and just down on themselves and stuff. And really, honestly, if we could just embrace that, let ourselves feel it and just kind of be and move through, and we would be more prepared for that new moon coming up, ready to take on that new, seed that we're planting and get moving. But a full moon will definitely bring out some emotions too, because everything is bright, lit up, you can see it all. And then another way we could look at that is actually looking at your chart, to get more personal, see where your moon is during that time, like what house it's in. It could be like around a full moon, your moon could be conjunct like maybe with Saturn or something. And if your moon was close to Saturn like that, then Saturn could be putting, a restraint on those emotions and feelings, because Saturn has the rings. It wants to keep you responsible. It wants to keep you in, bound.
Time.
Yes, it rules time. So, keeping you very, making sure that you're doing things the right way, that kind of deal. So if something were to come up emotionally, it would be there telling you, this is why, like, let's look at these things, kind of deal.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope that made sense. But
It does just make a lot of sense.
okay.
Like I said, I really, really like what you said as well, because to those people that don't know, I'm a musician, and obviously, as musicians, it's all about feeling. You feel things, and I hope you won't mind me saying this, but our singer called Alan, he says some days he can get up and he's just like can barely get out of bed, but he's a super empathic person, And if he learnt this stuff, he might be able to work with it a bit more and realize why he's feeling like that. Because he just thinks he's just depressed, or he's like something's going on. I don't know what it is. And I think by not knowing this stuff or not engaging this stuff, we've really misunderstood how we feel and why we are the way we are.
Right.
I hope he's watching. If he is, I hope he comments, because he might be a bit upset that I said that, but never mind. But yeah, like I say, it's just absolutely fascinating to me that we can work with this. Because it's all energy. Everything is energy. We are
Right.
energy. We are energetic beings. We're electromagnetic beings, and we respond with the energies all around us cosmically. And that was a massive revelation to me, in that, you know, it helped me understand, like I say, these feelings I'm feeling aren't necessarily something to do with me. Do you know what I mean? It can be something going on, and it's understanding it and learning to cooperate with it can reduce that kind of stress and anxiety about, like, the way I'm feeling, for example. Does that make sense? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say to your friend, to be honest, like, that is how I got into the work, because I was like, what is going on? I got to figure this out. And it's a system, and it's like an emotionally intelligent, you know, like, it's just a way to stay grounded and keep moving forward, and not let yourself, like, let the sensitive parts of you, you know, because those are beautiful gifts, but, you know, using it in a more functional way. And that was kind of the reason why I got started in all this. One of them.
Wow. Very interesting. Well, I'm certainly going to be delving more into this, that's for sure. And I'd just like to say to other people, don't, you know, if you're triggering now, if you're saying, oh, you know, should I, shouldn't I, is this, you know, just don't ever let fear control you. You know, we're in a safe place, we're safe people, and, you know, we've got a Holy Spirit who leads us into all truth, you know, and just run with it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm really fascinated. I'm going to do some studying.
Yeah. Awesome. I have one last question, and then I would love for you just to have any follow-up stuff and how people can find you. But there are different types of all of this too. Like, there's Vedic or whatever, and then there's, can you just touch on that so people can understand?
Sure. So the two most popular systems would be Vedic, and then there is tropical. I use tropical Western astrology. It's based off of the sun, so it's from Earth, projected from the sun. So a lot of people will ask, well, that planet's not even in that sign, but it is in the zodiac wheel or whatever. And how does that work? Well, it's because it's the perspective of where we are. So there's that. And then there's so with the tropical Western, you can do several different charts. I do a whole signs chart, and I do a Placidus. Placidus is what you're going to see, like, mainstream. It's a little bit more complicated than whole signs, because the whole signs means that it takes up the whole house. With a Placidus chart, you can have a house in different types of energies. So, you could have half of your first house in, like, Taurus and the other half in Gemini. It's not equal houses. Whole signs is equal. And the reason why I'm using whole signs right now is because of my training. That's what we're using for training. But before, I was, like, trained for, professional readings. I used Placidus because that was what was mainstream. And then we have Vedic astrology, which I have not been trained on. I've dabbled in it a little bit. It's usually, I want to say, like, one sign, one house off. Not house, one sign off. Then tropical. A lot of people will use Vedic for predictions, but I mean, I've seen predictions work just fine through Western. So it's also a different style of chart. Vedic, they use a square system, and both, all are accurate. That's a big topic in the astrologers, community. Which one is the right one? Well, they're all right. It just depends on what perspective you're looking at, and what you're looking for in the chart too. And it works best with like actual experience. Do I feel more like my Venus is in my 8th house, or do I feel like it's more, I'm more inclined to have joy from my 9th house where it's in this other chart, like for travel and stuff, that kind of thing. I hope that makes sense. So,
Awesome.
yeah, just experience is where you learn what your preference is.
Awesome. Well, I have 2 pages of notes here, and I know I'm going to dive in a little bit more just for my own self and definitely be talking to you. But
Absolutely.
Where can we find you? Where can people, obviously amyleopard.com. She's got lots of different services there, but any final words and any other way people can find you?
Yeah, so I put my amyleopard.com. That one's my easy link page. My main website's also on that page. Everything is there. My email, all my social links and my offers. I work one-on-one. I'm putting a group program together right now, actually, where we'll learn charts, learn your chart, learn your energy, learn how to embody that energy, learn how to, use what your gifts are, what you were born with to the highest functioning, level you can. Plus, we will learn moon transits to help you kind of move into like, tracking the rest of the transits, like Mercury, your Mars, all the different planets. So that's going to be like a group coaching program.
Awesome.
And I don't have it listed yet, but I do have that coming up. If you want to email me, I can definitely, or message me, whatever's easier. I can keep you updated on that.
Awesome.
And then obviously one-on-one readings. I do kids. I do people's kids. I do synastry, which is like a couple. So you could do like a business partnership or like a marriage partnership, or even with your children. And then, yeah.
Awesome. So good. So good. Yeah. And I know you do Reiki, raindrop, coming up with yoga stuff. I mean, we're going to have a whole bunch of different things at the center once we get the center going too. So you guys could come in person live and meet with us.
That'll be fun.
Some things. So that'll be fun too. But any final words, Craig?
I've said everything I think I can say, but people can find me. I'm on Facebook when I'm not banned. In fact, I've not been banned for a while, which is quite good. Who knows why? But yeah, like I say, I'm on Facebook if people want to connect. People want to check out the music, entherscension.com or Entherscension Music on Facebook. My wife and I run a crystal shop based in the UK, crystalfalls.co.uk.
Your meditation page.
Oh yeah, I maybe I could put a link on at some point. Yeah, but I dabble in meditation music on YouTube, and I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm at about 206 now. But like I say, one of my videos kind of it's on about 14,000 views now. So yeah, if people want to like that, I'd be really grateful. I'm sure we can get a link out there. But yeah, no, I'm so super excited about sort of delving more into this, Amy. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really, really happy.
Thank you both. This was so much fun.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you both. And thank everybody who's hopped on and all your great comments and information and questions. I always love the interaction and just seeing we got people from Germany and UK and, everywhere, all over the United States here with us today. And please do your due diligence and share this, get it out. Maybe there's somebody who would be interested in learning a little bit more about this, and this could be a modality to help someone in this season and with whatever they're going through, and to maybe give a little more insight to why they're wired this way, literally, and what made them be who they are. So when these things come up, they're more equipped to handle what's happening. Just like, now that's happened with like 2 or 3 times now, where I've been like, oh, look at this. Okay, well, this is when this is going to happen. Then there's not that push, strive, let down, disappointment when things aren't really like as easy, and I can just go, oh, okay, well, this is going to happen then. And not that we won't use our free will and authority and do our best to stay super clear, to magnetize miraculous timing and super awesome collaborations and friends and money and abundance and health and all those things. But this is just a tool. This is a tool that we can look into and use as a guide, a tool that has been taken away, that's been held secret, that's been held hostage, that has been programmed as a bad thing. And it's actually just science. It's science, y'all. So, don't be afraid. Look into this stuff and see. I personally can vouch for this, and it's really, really helpful and brings a lot of confidence and also just peace of mind about some things too. So anyway, I'm glad you guys were here on the show. You guys definitely, I'm just going to remind you one more time, please get it out there. We are not going to do any of this on Facebook anymore. This is 100% going to be on YouTube. Some of the more sensitive topics will be on BitChute and Rumble, but we are moving everything to YouTube. We're completely revamping. So please do go and subscribe to YouTube and this channel if you're interested in getting in the notifications. We have like 3 or 4 months booked of some really great shows coming up. And so I know you guys are going to want to be a part of that, and make sure you hit that follow so we can you can get those notifications. So talk soon. Have a wonderful Thursday. Love you guys. And we'll see you next week. We're going to be every Thursday at noon. So that's another thing I need to make sure. We're going to be very consistent with our noon topics. Noon Thursday is our time slot. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Hey.